What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to more C4. Today, we're going to be doing our first 2023 7-round mock draft only for the Eagles. Pick 4 as it stands. Thank you very much. Hope New Orleans enjoying Trevor Penning. We will very much enjoy as it stands that 4th overall pick in the draft. We have 2 first-rounders, 31 as well, 63, 95, 127, 159, 223. We're going to try to absolutely dominate this draft. And different feel to this draft. You know, I think about draft content for the Eagles maybe a month ago. It's what quarterback are we getting? Are we gonna get a veteran quarterback? Are we gonna shock the world and like try to trade for Lamar Jackson, package these 2 picks? Or are we gonna package these 2 picks, try to move up for Bryce Young, CJ Stroud? As it stands right now, Jalen Hurts is playing like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I am excited that we're going to be able to spend this draft capital, prove the team, get some freaks, and just build around Jalen Hurts potentially. But before we get into this mock draft, I do quickly want to kind of get an idea of where we should be going in this draft by looking at the Philadelphia Eagles roster. Not so much the players that we are going to have in 2023 and beyond, but you have to kind of look at the free agency class for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's quite substantial. The amount of names that are on this list drastically going to shape how Philly goes about this offseason. Now, we do have some cap money. We can re-sign a couple of these guys for sure, but I do think there is going to be some roster turnover this season. It's the nature of the beast, especially if Philly might, they believe in Jalen Hurts and they want to get ahead of it. Maybe they get a contract extension hammered out earlier, sooner than later, and save a couple bucks there before Hurts goes nuclear, if that's the trajectory that he's on. But looking at our pending free agents, Fletcher Cox, he's most likely gone. I mean, I think there's maybe a chance that he comes back. Just kind of finish out a career. I'm going to guess that some team worse than Philly with more money is going to pay. Like, I can see Jacksonville. You can see the Jets, Joe Douglas bringing him in. You got Brandon Graham. I think more likely that he might come back to kind of like finish his career out as a Philadelphia Eagle, but it's going to be affordable, and there's going to be a clear price point on BG. He's playing well. He's not playing like a 34-year-old. I mean, he absolutely wrecked Minnesota? Commanders? It was Commanders. Absolutely wrecked in that Commanders game. So, I mean, I would absolutely bring BG back, but I wouldn't prioritize it because he's, you gotta move on. Sometimes you gotta understand, like, if you want to come back, we'll have a place for you, but we're not gonna be able to really get in a bidding war for a 35-year-old pass rusher. Javon Hargrave, this is one, like the first guy here. Okay, we'll just say right now, I'm not even gonna consider Kelsey. If he wants to come back, he's coming back. You make that work. Even with the selection of Cam Jurgens, if Kelsey feels like he can still play, he's the best center in the NFL, bring him back. Javon Hargrave, this is the guy that's like, Jordan Davis clearly is drafted to be the successor to Fletcher Cox. I think Hargrave, where he's more of a pass rusher, I think that's a great compliment to have next to Jordan Davis. And I feel like the yin to the yang might be worth it. He's 29, probably get him on like a 2-year extension potentially. I would be interested in bringing back Hargrave, even though he hasn't really popped yet this season. I think long-term and how you're building a roster and you want your D-line to complement each other, Hargrave would be interesting. It's not a lock, though. He wouldn't be one of my top priorities, but he would be a guy that I would highly consider bringing back, maybe even more so than Fletch and BG at this point. James Bradbury's 29. I think absolutely he's earned his second contract. He's been outstanding on the other side of Darius Slay. Phenomenal. He's won us. You could argue that Jags game, he didn't get that interception. Who knows how that turns out? Now, he is 29, so this could be a tough contract extension. He's probably going to look for something that's like 2 years, 3rd-year option, somewhere in that range at 29. He's getting up there in age a little bit, but I would prioritize James Bradbury. I would try to get that extension done sooner than later, maybe even in season. Seumalo, Dillard. I think I'm also going to kind of mention down here Marcus Epps. Those guys are kind of in that bubble of like, what's the value going to be outside this building? Maybe we can get them back here on cheap deals. If not, you got someone like Joe Douglas again at the Jets, where like he knows these guys. He might sneakily, with the Jets salary cap, try to bring some of these guys over and poach them away from Philadelphia. Kaiser White and TJ Edwards, 2 starting linebackers. I don't think you resign, even though I think in a perfect world, you resign both. I think with Nakobe Dean on his rookie deal, you could probably move on from one. And I mean, Kaiser White's been solid, but TJ Edwards has been excellent. So I would prioritize, like with James Bradbury, a new contract for TJ Edwards, and then maybe try to go Edwards and Nakobe Dean as our starting linebackers next season. That's fairly affordable. The running back room could be different. Boston Scott, I'd bring him back, honestly, on another cheap deal like we did this year. But Miles Sanders absolutely earned himself a new contract. He's on pace for well over 1,000 yards this season. You can't ask for much more than that for a guy that's looking to get paid. However, I don't think Howie's going to pay running back. I just don't think it's in It's in the DNA of how he builds rosters, unfortunately. And unless there's a bargain to be had with Miles Sanders, I think we draft. And if you go and watch my main channel mock draft, which is just a first-round draft for all the teams, I actually had Philadelphia at the end of the draft getting BIJAN Robinson, the running back from Texas. I feel like I'd rather that scenario than paying Miles Sanders, because at least then you get the 5th year out. You get 5 years of affordable running back play with BIJAN Robinson, who should be able to hit the ground running at a very high level. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I think he's going to play better in the backstretch of the season. He came in late, still learning the playbook, learning his teammates, building that chemistry. But as it stands right now, the on-field football product hasn't probably been good enough to give Chauncey Gardner-Johnson the money that he's going to be looking for. So I would probably chill on that one a little bit. You got Pascal and stuff like that. But ultimately, as it stands for Philadelphia, the reason why we go through all those free agents, D-line could be different. Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Brandon Graham. Secondary, depending on what we do with James Bradbury, Marcus Epps, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Those are 3 starters right there. You have the linebacking core of Kaiser White and TJ Edwards. What's the plan going to be there? The running back room, Boston Scott, Miles Sanders. Like, you're starting to see some positions that Philadelphia might handle their free agency knowing where they want to go in the draft. And they might not sign some of these guys knowing what kind of players they want in the draft. Yada, yada, yada. Will Anderson's our first pick. Blue chip pass rusher. Need it. Will Anderson's a freak. He's a freak of nature. He's an alien. I'd say, I do think CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, if this scenario works out and Philly just holds on to 4, they're going to get either Jalen Carter, which would be arguably a better pick, because if you get Jalen Carter, you could probably let Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave walk. But Will Anderson is better than Jalen Carter. Will Anderson is a blue chip pass rusher. We're absolutely not going to be trading out of these picks for 3rd round fucking picks. Get out of here. But when you look at this, it's, you know, the Giants have Kayvon Thibodeau, blue chip pass rusher. The Commanders have Chase Young, blue chip pass rusher. The Cowboys have Micah Parsons, blue chip pass rusher. And well, we have good pass rushers here. Josh Sweat hasn't reached his ceiling yet. Hassan Riddick has been very good, especially the last 2 weeks. Brandon Graham just aging like a fine wine at this point. Those guys aren't blue chip guys. Someone like Will Anderson, you can find a way. Like, if BG doesn't want to come back, look at Philadelphia Eagles pass rush right now. We have 3 guys. Kaiser White's getting not Kaiser White. Hassan Reddick's getting meaningful snaps as a pass rusher. BG's getting meaningful snaps as a pass rusher. Josh Sweat's getting meaningful snaps as a pass. So there's room for 3 starters of a pass rusher on the Eagles. And if you kind of, even if you bring back BG in like a veteran role, Will Anderson has a spot on this team with Riddick and Josh Sweat still here. Easy selection. I'm running that one up. You cannot mess that one. That is a guy that in another year, if a team that's picking ahead of us doesn't need a quarterback, Will Anderson might be like a Myles Garrett going 1st overall type pass rusher. Getting that at 4, you got to pull the trigger. Now we're here on the clock at 31. Now for pick 31, we have a couple options here. One is just, if we want to be in the nature going BPA, Michael Mayer, aka Baby Gronk, is still here. How many more weapons does the offense need? But, if you wanted to, you could absolutely just go, we're going to have more 2 tight ends. It's not ridiculous. I wouldn't hate that if Michael Mayer was still on the board. But more so for Philadelphia. I mean, we go at running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama would be very interesting at 31. But for me, the only running back that is worthy of a 1st-round pick, if he's still there, is BIJAN Robinson. I think Gibbs is very much like a 2nd-rounder type guy. Good speed, would be very interesting if he's still there at 63. Unlikely he will be. But there's also more value at running back if you want to go there. Sean Tucker, Zach Evans, Bigsby, Charbonnet, he's been crushing it this year for UCLA. Corum from Michigan. Now, like, there's a lot more value there. It's Bijan Robinson and kind of everybody else. So maybe D-tackle, then you get D-tackle. You got Tyree Wilson. He's more of an edge rusher, 6'6", 275. Ika would be terrifying alongside Jordan Davis. We'd have over like 700 pounds starting at defensive. Again, I just don't know if the value's there at 31. A little bit of a baby, less athletic Vita Vea potentially here. Ika, great run defender. I was looking at corner. I was getting ready to pull the trigger on Christian Gonzalez. Very good athlete. Colorado transfer to Oregon. Height, weight, speed, everything that you're looking for. But I think Zach McPherson is kind of... If we bring back James Bradbury, I think Zach McPherson has looked solid in like relief duty. And we just don't really have that Jags game to go off of. And outside of like one broken play to Christian Kirk, McPherson held his own filling in for Darius Slay. And he's graded out well. And he's been great on special teams. I don't necessarily think if we keep James Bradbury, corner, given the board, unless someone slipped, would be an immediate. So I'm going to go safety. And I just kind of think like, look at linebacker there as well. Tioto could be, or whatever the fuck you pronounce it, could actually be pretty interesting at 31. But again, I think you bring back one of, and likely, TJ Edwards, and then you go to Kobe Dean at linebacker, and then you don't, the rest kind of figured itself out with depth pieces. I think safety is where we go. And I'm going to look here at Brian Branch. You're just kind of getting a like for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, just way cheaper. Like, if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's the style of safety that they want, and as it stands right now, hasn't really earned himself a second contract just yet, Brian Branch, kind of the same mold. Do it all. Can play a little corner, can play a little money star linebacker, can drop back. Great athlete, should test very well. Might be one of the best athletes at the safety spot at the combine when all is said and done. So the fact that both Epps and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson are set to be free agents, and are we keeping both? It's not a lock that both those guys are back next season, unless, I think, especially in Epps' case, I don't think he's going to overpay for Epps. It's more so finder's fee. We developed you. Are we going to be able to sneak you away while the rest of the market kind of undervalues you? Potentially. But I think we'll go Brian Branch just to be a Chauncey Gardner-Johnson style safety on, a rookie contract versus whatever Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's going to demand. Because he wants to bag. That's why he left New Orleans in the first place. He wanted to come to Philly. He wanted to go somewhere that he'd play safety and get a lot more money on the open market. As I just put it this way, even if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson plays good, I almost think he's going to 100% go to the open market. Even if he wants to come back to Philly and Philly gives him a decent offer, he 100% is going to go to whatever team gives him the most money, and I can't blame him. That's the name of the game. So if that's the case, we'll get Brian Branch here, versatile safety out of Alabama, to round out the first round. Now we're on the clock at pick 63 in the second round. So at pick 63, this is, again, much like Brian Branch, is like, all right, if we didn't bring back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, there is your rookie contract replacement. I'm going to go D-tackle here at 63, and we are going to get our Javon Hargrave replacement. If we don't bring him back, you need a D-tackle that can complement Jordan Davis, get someone that's a little bit more refined as a pass rusher, and Tyler Davis has that. He's around 200 pounds, maybe just a little bit under, 295 we'll say. He's been able to get the quarterback 4 TFLs, 2 sacks in 3 games, I think, right now with Clemson as of recording this. Very, highly recruited. I think he might have been a 5-star from Clemson. So at this point, we are just kind of, recouping what Philly is likely going to lose in this upcoming free agency spot. And here we go. There's your, at pick 31, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson replacement. Pick 63, your new partner in crime with Jordan Davis on the defensive line. Pick 95, it's all about replacing what we may be losing. And now we're going to take a look on the offensive line. He's still on the board. A lot of people regard him as the top guard. It's not a particularly strong interior offensive line class. We're going to grab Layden Robinson from Texas A&M. Big-time power mauler. Can't believe this thing gave me a D+ for Tyler Davis as well. F you. But a big-time power blocker, should almost be plug-and-play, day one starter. And hey, I almost feel like this for any offensive line prospect. And I said this, and I had to understand this myself after the Andre Dillard pick, what I didn't love. But if we get the thumbs up from the O-line coach, the greatest O-line coach in the NFL right now, if he gives the thumbs up to an O-lineman player, he falls in love with an O-lineman player, which it seems like, obviously going back to Jordan Mailata, I think he'll fall in love with Robinson. If he doesn't, if he wants to just, go to the draft and find someone else that can replace Isaac Seumalo, pretty much have to trust his opinion. Because when push comes to shove, I don't know. I thought it was a legitimate shot that Jeff Stoutland could have been the head coach, the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. So, again, it's maybe not the sexiest draft, but we have a lot of guys leaving. Especially, if you look at that free agency class, you're like, well, we'll be able to sign A, B, C, D, E, F. Are you accounting the fact that we are maybe most likely going to try to extend Jalen Hurts? That's going to be a significant amount of salary. You can almost say, if we extend Jalen Hurts, and you had this big fantasy of, we're getting almost all our good players back in free agency, eliminate 2 of them for the money that's going to have to go to the quarterback. So that is kind of how we're prioritizing this draft. Maybe not so much as Will Anderson, that was BPA, but Branch, Davis, and Robinson is just filling guys that we're probably going to be unable to afford to keep. 127, kind of BPA, I'm not going to lie. I looked ahead. I think I have an idea where I want to go 159 and 223. I think getting some depth at corner, why not get, we have Troy Apke as a white corner. We'll get Riley Moss, very productive, very instinctual corner. And I do feel like, he has great athleticism, 6'1", length to play on the outside. I kind of just feel like corner depth. It was either corner depth or linebacker depth. And really at that spot, and really that's the same linebackers that are left here. I think Herbig's probably the best value, but again, that's more like if you bring him in, he's going to probably compete with Patrick Johnson for the reps behind Hassan Reddick as like that edge rusher linebacker hybrid. Not a lot of great linebacker depth, which is, we're going to need linebacker depth. We're probably not going to bring back both Edwards and Kaiser White. And you can't just like assume we bring back Edwards. Edwards and Nakobe Dean aren't going to be enough. So I would maybe hopefully get a better role at the linebackers that are available still. But as it stands right now, I mean, you could look Pace Jr. He balled out, transferred to Cincinnati. But we'll grab some depth at corner here in Riley Moss. Just a versatile defensive back. Now at 159, here is where we are going to, now it's time to get our running back. Now this is where it's tough because Deuce Vaughn, not as freaky of an athlete as Darren Sproles, but both Kansas State, both very shifty, very stylistically build the same. Deuce Vaughn would be awesome. Kenny McIntosh, another solid running back. Ibrahim, but for me and my money, I think if you want value, Dwayne McBride, UAB's absolutely been crushing it as well. There's just a lot of value. We could get the Canadian Chase Brown from Illinois, but if we are going to draft a running back, and these are the guys that are left, for my money, the guy is Blake Corum out of Michigan. You got a guy offers a good blend of speed and power, has home run ability. I think you have the potential of, and if you're looking at these running backs, I feel like if you're Philadelphia, you need someone that can be that Miles Sanders. Whereas, the way of thinking is, Miles Sanders is firmly, maybe there's some disagreement here that he's more than a committee back, but he's at least a feature back in a committee. And I feel like out of all those running backs that have the potential to be a feature back in a committee, give me Blake Corum as it stands right now. And then finishing up at 223, apparently, he's gone, no! When did he go? Fuck. Jair Brown. I thought he was going to be here from Penn State. I would love him. I feel like depth safety is where we could go. God damn it. Oh, I thought he was still going to be there. Oh, that's fine. I mean, there's still lots of depth here. I think Dalton Kincaid's value, but with the Grant Calcaterra selection, probably aren't going to prioritize drafting another tight end. Jalen McMillan has looked great for Washington. Michael Penix's first. Penix, I said. Get your mind out of the gutter. Is solid value there at wide receiver. He could come in, compete for the back end of the roster if he's still on the board. You just kind of go BP at this. Ruko Horo. There's value there on the defensive line if that's really where we want to go. Come on, C4. Let's just fit. Charlie Jones, this guy's been crushing it for Purdue. He wears soccer socks. He's actually been awesome. This is going to be this is the final pick of the draft, or one of the two. He'd be a guy that I'd try to target UDFA. But for the time being, I wish Jair Brown was still here. To close it out, if this is the board, honestly, maybe we go wide out. Tank Dell's still there. I'd probably go McMillan, just kind of BPA. I think he was a five-star recruit out of Washington. But I was really, really hoping Jair Brown was there because I would love to get another depth safety just in case we don't bring back. Even if we bring back Marcus Epps, Brian Branch, throw in a Jair Brown. That'd be pretty good. But there is my Eagles mock draft. Very top-heavy, very much trying to replace free agents that we have lost. Would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. By all means, you can just copy and paste. Pick 431, 63, 95, and just show me what your mock draft would look like at this given draft order. Let me know in the comment section below. But that will do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you do want to see a 32-team first-round mock draft, head on over to the main C4 channel. That video will be going up live a little bit later today. And that will do it for me today, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching. As always, first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. And I'll see you back here on Friday. And I will see you then. Peace out.